something ain't quite right with your protagonist, and we're going to talk about what that is in this episode. Welcome to Writing Wednesday. My name is Michael Martin. I'm a writer and a coach for writers at Storywriter Academy. This is episode 3 of How to Write a Story Step by Step, and it's called Need because we're going to talk about how to establish your main character's physical and emotional needs. In the last episode, we established a character in a comfort zone. Basically, they're going about their normal life, which is not without its own tensions and conflict. But the story problem, the reason your audience is giving your work any attention at all, has not happened yet. The reason it hasn't happened yet is because there's no reason for it to happen. That is, until we figure out what your character needs. That's the reason that this story is going to take place. Because your character wants something. If your character doesn't want anything, then you don't have a story. You just have a character. J.K. Rowling spends all of Chapter 3 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone covering this milestone.
Look! Alice got a letter! Hey, give it back, it's mine!
Yours? I've been writing to you.
This is the letters from no one. Harry wants to belong. He desires a loving family. He needs love. Those are both physical and emotional needs. In Black Panther, T'Challa doesn't feel like he knows what kind of king he should be. He's unsure in how to protect Wakanda. And while in the spiritual plane, he even tells his dead father that he's not ready to be without his dad, and he just wants to be a great king just like his father. Additional needs are established during T'Challa's conversation with Nakia when she explains that they can share Wakanda's technology to help the world. But T'Challa is once again afraid that if they did that, Wakanda would lose its way of life. And then T'Challa has this same conversation with W'Kabi, and W'Kabi thinks that they should use their technology to wage war on the world. And so, with two of his friends having such opposing viewpoints and no clear answer in sight, T'Challa retreats to the safety of just following tradition and keeping Wakanda's existence and technology secret. And let's be clear on one thing before we move on. When I use examples from well-known stories like Harry Potter and Black Panther and Lord of the Rings, I'm not trying to pretend as if I know what was going on behind the scenes when these works were created. I don't know. It's impossible for me to know exactly what these writers' intentions were. I can, however, extrapolate from the impressions that they left embedded within the story itself. And it's safe to say that even if they weren't intentionally following a certain story structure, they at least intuitively understand the rhythm of storytelling enough that they've left behind clues that I can deduct information that we all can learn from. Just wanted to throw that out there. Dan Harmon, creator of Community and Rick and Morty, explains how the movie Die Hard establishes its hero, John McClane. We realize now that John's marriage is rocky. His wife got a nice job in LA and he refused to come with her. Now he's visiting for Christmas. She's using her maiden name in the corporate directory. They're bickering. Things are not right, and if you could read the protagonist's mind, you might find him wishing there was something he could do to save his marriage. So how do you apply this to your story? Well, first you start by asking yourself these questions. What is your character's physical needs? And what is your character's emotional needs? And we're not talking about if your character is hungry and needs food. Think big, talking story arc stuff. Because whatever your character's needs are, that's what's going to propel the arc of your character throughout the story. And this need, or needs, will resurface at a key moment in your story. That's why I said this might be the most important episode in this entire series, because whatever need you give to your character now is going to resurface later. It will get fulfilled. Your character will achieve or overcome this need somewhere in your plot, but the need has to be firmly established here first before we can ever come back to it. Dan Harmon, creator of Community and Rick and Morty, describes how to show your character's need like this. Demonstrate that something is off balance in the universe, no matter how large or small that universe is. We're being presented with the idea that things aren't perfect. This is where the character might wonder out loud, or with facial expressions, why he can't be cooler, or richer, or faster, or a better lover. This wish will be granted in ways that character couldn't have expected. If you're still figuring out your character at this time, it's totally fine. You can come up with as many answers to the previous questions as possible and pick the best one later. You might even find that some of the traits you come up with are going to be similar to the others, and it's okay for you to consolidate them. In fact, it might even be best to try to drill down to one answer per question just for more focus, such as emotional need, trust, or physical need, companionship. Then, depending on what kind of story you're telling, you can either choose the physical need or the emotional need, or both. If you're using both, one need can be more dominant than the other, and so on. Get creative, go nuts. But the important thing to remember is that this need, whether physical or emotional or a combination of the two, will get fulfilled later on in your story. That's so important that you remember that. And I won't let you forget because we're going to address that in a future episode. But it will get fulfilled later as a way to show how far your character has come from the beginning of the story. Because stories are about change. Which brings us to a change of topic. In the next episode, we're going to cover the first plot point. It's basically when all the bad stuff happens to your character. Thank you for watching this episode. My name is Michael Martin. I'll see you on the next one.